Welcome to episode 139 of the Ben Briggs podcast. I am Ben Briggs. It is Tuesday, people. Tuesday, the 1st of September, 2020. And I hope you're all doing well out there. I hope you're keeping a bit chipper, a little bit chirpy. Under the current restrictions that we're all suffering from worldwide, I imagine. I'm doing okay. I hope you're all, as I say, doing well, he says, mumbling and stumbling over what he was going to say. It's been a bit of a fucking shitter yesterday for me. I had to go down to fucking hospital, and because you can't get in Northampton, you have to go to Milton Keynes Hospital. Or you have to wait fucking ages for an appointment, either a 20-week wait, I think it was, or something like that, to get these fucking bites on my fucking face sorted. And, getting the fucking bites fucking sorted on my face and the fucking infections in my face. It's, sometimes I just want to be pretty, baby, as I've said before. On the way fucking back, from that, my fucking car that I've had to take in today, my fucking car fucked up. So I don't know what it is, man. I got everything paid off. I got my loan I had out. I got that paid off. I got my credit card down to nothing. And 24 hours later, literally 24 hours after I did all that, paid off my loan, paid off my credit card, I've just got it's going to be a stinking bill for my fucking car. I just thought, fuck it, I'll get it MOT'd, I'll get it serviced, because I had that MOT thing where you didn't have to get it MOT for 6 months because the government said, hey man, this isn't important when there's a pandemic going on. I think that was going to run out in December or something. So I thought, fuck it, I'll get it serviced, I'll get the car serviced, I'll get it MOT'd while I'm doing that, while I'm getting whatever this fucking thing is. I think it's happened before on my car. I mean, just as you're fucking literally 24 hours, I was debt free, and then instantly I'm like, wow, this is going to be. This is going to go on the credit card again. It's going to take a couple of months to pay off before I'm in this situation again. That's a bit of a absolute shit fest for me. To be fair, the car don't really cost me a lot of money. It's not a fucking great car. You know what I mean? It's not a fantastic car. I wish I had a better car than I did. But it's getting to that stage, like where you're like, oh shit, shall I buy a new one or shall I just throw money at this one and see how we get on? You try and look after shit. That's the point I'm trying to make, right? You try and look after shit and you think, I'll look after this car, I'll get it serviced regularly. And then, again, something's gone that always goes, apparently. But I must admit, like, where I live, Northampton, heading down to Milton Keynes, there's like it's the main M1 motorway, like, which goes from basically London all the way up north, like straight down the middle of the country. So I have to travel down there a couple of junctions, and obviously, they're turning it into a smart motorway because they want that fucking money off you if you go like 2 mile an hour over 70, or like they reduce it down to like 60 or 50 mile an hour. And if you're still doing 60 as you go through a 50 mile an hour bit where they've mysteriously changed the fucking speed limit for no reason, you have to pay a fine for that. So they're updating all that. This will pay for itself. That's what they're thinking. We'll just put massive screens, LCD screens up, and this will pay for itself after we get all that money. The bastards. Anyway, so I have to travel down there a little bit, and it's just like, having to go down there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, you can see a lot of people are back at work now these days. It was just fucking chock-a-block, man. The whole road streaming back all the way. And it's always the junction you need to come off at. And you have that fucking little thing about, like, in your head where you see the queue for the junction and you're like, shall I join the back of the queue or shall I be one of those assholes who tries to cut in a little bit nearer the front? I was that asshole yesterday and it worked like a fucking dream. Absolute dream. You just got to muscle your way in. As you're driving by, just looking for somebody who looks a little bit of a pussy who'd probably let you in to the left-hand side. So I had to go down, to have some sort of blood test or something, just to see what the fuck is going on with my face at the minute, with these bites and shit. Let's have a little bit of tea. Hang on. So I did that yesterday, and on the way back, my car, I'll say when I got there, going to the fucking hospital as well, I must admit, there was fucking nobody about. Nobody at all. I got there like about 9 o'clock in the morning and there was hardly anybody in there at all. In the car park, there was about 3 cars. I walked round and it was like something out of 28 Days Later, walking round. Like the fucking hospital was empty. I couldn't find anybody to tell me where to go. I knew where I wanted to go. And I followed the signs for where I wanted to go. And then they were decorating one bit. And I could see, I went to walk through one door and push the door like that. And it was locked. And I could see the other side of the door through the glass. I could see the reception I needed to be in. If somebody had just unlocked that door, I could have walked round. But it was like, it was a 2-second trip through the other side of the door. And I had to walk all the way around the fucking hospital, obviously. Then you're waiting there, and you're in the hospital waiting room with you 2 meters apart, with your fucking mask on. Everybody, freaking out just in case you sort of like cough or sniff or anything like that. People judging you. That's what we're doing these days, isn't it? Wearing our masks indoors, just judging people. There's sort of 2 types of people, isn't there? There's the people who treat everything like normal, who are just walking around just with a fucking mask on and that sort of thing. And then you've got the other type of person these days who seems to think that they're walking down an alleyway at about midnight, a dark alleyway with no lighting around it. And as soon as you sort of like get within a 3-meter distance of them, they'll freak out. Jesus Christ. I don't know who these fucking, there's definitely 2 types. The people who normally, just walk around, hey, yeah, in front of me, yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, you're right, you can walk through there. I've got a mask on, you've got a mask on, that's fine. And then the fucking, oh, God, oh, my God, that guy sneezes on me, I'm going to die immediately, those types, Jesus. But, you get that all the time, don't you? Anyway, I went to the fucking doctors. I went to the hospital, did that, come out, and saw a little bit of water under my car, and I was like, I'm not sure. Looked around the car park and thought, there's no other puddles, there, or whatever. I don't know what the fuck's, maybe I just parked over a puddle or something like that. Got halfway home, and the old light, the temperature on the engine just went whoop like that, and the red light come on, and I was like, oh fuck. I was like, I even know how far away from home I was. I was 6.7 miles away from home at that point that I saw on the sat nav, and I was just like, come on. Because they're doing roadworks and everything like that on the M1, you cannot afford to break down because there's no hard shoulder at the minute. If you break down, you're fucked. You got people ploughing into the back of you and shit like that, and I just thought, oh, come on, just fucking hold it together a little bit here. As the temperature was going up, there was fucking little bit of smoke coming from under the bonnet, and I was like, oh, fuck, come on. Just counting down. That anxiety inside me of counting down every 1/10 of a mile as it was going down, and I was getting closer and closer and closer to home, and I just thought, and I always come off at the second junction of Northampton. I always come off at that one, and I came off at the first one because I didn't fucking trust my car making it without breaking down, and I did not want to break down on the fucking M1 and become another statistic. So that was my fun day yesterday. I made it home and then I have just like just taking my car in today, and hopefully they can sort it out by the weekend. Not that I'm doing a lot of the weekend at the minute. I just want it back, just for the reason, reason of I may do something, the potential to do something, go for a drive or something. But they've given me a loaner car, so at least I could get back from the garage. That's the main thing. But that's loan. It's got dents and shit all over it, and I don't know. It's it'll do. It drives and stuff like that. It's not like it's not like an insurance job. That's the difference. If you take it to a local garage, it's not like if your car's written off and they go, "Oh, here's a loaner car for the time being," and you get something that's like about a year, 2 years old, something like that. This is an old Corsa, an old Vauxhall Corsa. I think it's like a 2004, 2005, something like that. I think it's an 05 plate. So, it's got more wrong with it, possibly, than the car I fucking taken in to be fixed by these guys. I've just traded for a worse car. I remember this happened to me before, though. Like, the exactly same thing, like the fucking engine temperature went up and shit like that. And I was stuck in London. And I was just driving out of London, and the temperature just went up, and I stopped at a garage, and there was all the fucking coolant pissing out of the bottom of the engine, and I was just like, oh, fucking hell, man. So I had to buy 2 bottles of coolant and then stop every 15 miles on the way back from London to top it up, because you could just hear it slowly pissing out as you're driving back at about 55 mile an hour. If you get caught or something for that, I don't know what the rules or regulations are with being caught for that. I have no idea. You haven't got enough coolant in your engine. Surely that's not illegal. I don't know. Let's have a little bit of tea. So I haven't as yet had any gigs now for when was my last one? March, April, May, June, July, August. Almost 6 months, man. It'll be 6 months in about 2 weeks' time. And because gigs aren't really, they're not really running still and shit like that. I did see this is a big thing that's been happening within the comedy community, as we're all trying to keep in touch or keep abreast of what's happening in the comedy community via the Facebook forums. I thoroughly recommend, as I've said this in podcasts before, if you like to see arguments about comedy or scandal about comedy, I thoroughly recommend joining all of the UK comedy forums. It's fucking great. But there was an article. Let's have a little bit more tea before I start this. Hang on. There was an article this week that was in all. I think it started in the Guardian or something like that. I don't know. One of these hoity-toity fucking papers. Not that I really read newspapers or anything like that, but I do. It's a very, politically correct leaning newspaper that the BBC, and this was on other websites and stuff like that, apparently. The BBC is looking for less left-wing comics. I don't know how the fuck they're going to get right-wing comics. I'm not sure there's too many about, to be perfectly honest. Me personally, he says, coughing up that tea, he just went down the wrong way. Hang on a minute. Fucking hell. Jesus, Ben. Let's try and wash it down with more tea. Basically, at the minute, I'm pretty much waterboarding myself with tea at the moment. Hang on a minute. I can feel something in the back of my throat. That's what she said. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, the BBC are looking for less sort of like left wing comedians. I don't really know how I class myself, to be honest. When it comes to politically stuff, I don't really know how I really class myself. Whether centrist, left wing, right wing. I think on some issues I'm quite left wing. On other issues I'm quite right wing. I don't know, man. I just, I wouldn't put myself in in any one sort of like fucking pigeonhole. I've never fucking voted. I just don't see the point. It just seems like the whole fucking system is rigged and nothing really changes anyway. They bring in all these fucking great ideas, slag the other side off, and then it just seems like, it's still ruled by rich people. So I just, I kind of unsubscribe to the lot of it, I think. Yeah, certain things you can stick up for, can't you? You don't really want to, you don't, I'm not a supporter of, I'm against racism, against sexism ish to a certain degree. Against, homophobia and against all those things. But, you've got to understand that in between those things, in between, the black and white area of that's wrong and that's right, there is a grey area in amongst that obviously where comedy lies. And I don't know, I would bill myself as a contrarian, I imagine. That's how I would see myself. With all those things, like that, both the left and the right have fucking weird fucking ideas about stuff, like the left wanting to cancel shit is very much like, cancel certain books, certain films, certain comedians, certain, whatever, plays, or certain people speaking, wanting to cancel that is very much a sort of old style fascist, sort of like rightist, right wing sort of like stance on things. So I don't know, man. I don't really subscribe to pandering to people and pandering to people's prejudices about people like Trump and fucking Boris Johnson and all that, like those sort of jokes. I don't really do that. This is not my pitch to get on the BBC, by the way. Dear. Hey, the amount of people who will come out as right wing now that they know, that they know the BBC. Hey, I'll sell out my fucking left leanings for for a bit of BBC cashola. But yeah, so a lot of the comedy, obviously, it's difficult to, I don't know, with regards to right-wing comedy, like, it's fucking difficult, isn't it? Like, there's a lot of fucking bigotry associated with that, like the 1970s comedians, a lot of bigotry, racism, all that sort of thing associated with what you would deem as right-wing comedians, isn't it? It's like you got the old, fucking Bernard Manning fucking in his own club surrounded by a completely white audience, isn't it? That's what it brings to mind. Whereas, I don't know, man. I think if you tie yourself to one side or another, I've never really seen myself either way. Either left or right or centrist or whatever. I'm just like, I don't know, man. It makes you think, you know what I mean? When you're like, am I a left-wing comedian? Am I one of those comedians who just fucking, makes stupid little jokes about Trump or whatever as a fucking punchline? I mean, they're just as fucking boring as people just coming out. I'm not, just as boring, not as abhorrent, but just as boring as people coming out with fucking, jokes about black people or Asian people or whatever, aren't they? It just becomes a, initial, call and response, isn't it? Between, and you end up just gigging to the same sort of like people, don't you? I think to be a better comedian, you need to be able to gig, not pander to, but be able to gig to like a broad spectrum of people rather than just people in your echo chamber. And whether those people agree with what you say or not, I'm sure there's many right-wing people who don't agree with things I say. I'm sure there's many left-wing people who don't agree with certain things I say on stage. But that's a way of challenging stuff, isn't it? Challenging issues. Not that anything really ever changes, do they? Nobody's gone to a comedy club gig and gone, fucking, wow. That has changed my perspective on things. Maybe they have. Maybe they have with people like Dave Chappelle and Richard Pryor, people like that. But I don't know. So it's a very odd thing how a lot of comedians in this country, particularly on TV, are very left, very left leaning and politically correct. Whereas, especially sort of like the newish batch of people sort of like being on TV, because they've got to, cater to a mainstream sort of like crowd, haven't they? But it makes it kind of a little bit less interesting in my eyes. Whereas in America, the people who would be more dynamic in their ideas and views and come out with more succinct arguments and flirt between that line of political correctness and stepping over that line and have a balance between left and right in the sort of material that they do. Are a lot more interesting to me. Maybe that's just a personal preference. I don't know, but I don't know. They're fucking knowing the BBC. They'll just commission 2 more series of Mrs. Brown's Boys. This is nice and safe. Well, fucking, they don't say fuck. They say fack. F-A-C-K. It's fucking, that's safe, isn't it? It's not even a swear word. Fuck's sake. Dear. Anyway, so that's what's been scrambling around in the comedy community this week. Let's have a let's have a bit more tea. He says, holding it up to the camera. It's very weird looking at yourself in a fucking screen and thinking I'm probably the only person who's going to watch this. Anyway. Things I have watched, he says, seamlessly smoothing into one thing or another. This week, when did it come out? I don't know when it came out on Netflix, but since I last spoke to you on Saturday, I have fucking hammered Cobra Kai. Now, I don't know if you've seen this. There's 2 seasons on Netflix at the minute, and it just came on the other day. I am fucking loving it. I am loving it. It obviously is. It takes from the Karate Kid films, obviously, and it takes the sort of like main protagonists of the good guy and the bad guy. So you've got like fucking Daniel LaRusso and Johnny, but they're like grown up and grown older and shit like that. And the amount, if you're a fan of either 80s music or the Karate Kid films, it is so fucking well done. You need to watch it. I would guarantee you are going to fucking like it. If you grew up like me, I remember going to the Point Cinema in Milton Keynes with people who lived down the road from me. There was a group of us who lived in the same road. I remember going to the Point Cinema in Milton Keynes, not in Northampton, in Milton Keynes, and going to see The Karate Kid at that cinema and fucking loving it. And I have loved all of them, all the films. I mean, like, they're obviously dodgy, aren't they? Daniel LaRusso was in a couple, weren't he? Mr. Miyagi and all that shit. And then Mr. Miyagi takes on a girl and she starts fighting. And, I'm a guy. I kind of lost interest with that when I was about like 12, 13 or something. Even at that age, I was like, oh, fucking hell. But I would thoroughly recommend watching Cobra Kai. It's humorous. It's got good callbacks to the original series. The Johnny character in it is fucking great. Daniel LaRusso is still a bit of a fucking, I don't know, fucking walking on his tiptoes, fucking dork who's done quite well for himself. And then the Johnny character is like a down and out kind of guy who brings back the Cobra Kai dojo. But fucking watch it. I fucking love it. I'm hooked on it, and I've done what? I only got a couple of episodes left of the whole lot. I have hammered it one after the other. It was a proper nostalgia fest. Even the music in there is like 80s music, and that Johnny guy is like stuck in kind of that 1980s sort of like mindset about just liking like fast cars, chicks, and fucking fighting. It's fucking great. It's the antidote to everything that is going on in the world right now with over the top, everyone's a victim of shit and stuff like that, and it addresses that issues, and it does it really well. Though I thoroughly fucking recommend it. I loved it so much. I want more Cobra Kai, if anything. I just like that whole thing, you know what I mean? The thing that gives you a bit of nostalgia. It brings in like new characters, like that Johnny's whole gang is in one episode as well, his old gang and shit like that. And there's still that sort of like tension between, the Daniel LaRusso character and Johnny, whatever his name was, Johnny Cobra. That's not his name, was it? I'm Googling here. What's his name? Johnny Lawrence, that's it, isn't it? Yeah. And it's the original cast as well. That's the best thing about it is, like, there's a lot of, obviously, the Mr. Miyagi character is gone because the guy who played him is dead. I'm sorry to break that to you, but, people do every now and again. But it's like the original cast, and then loads of sort of like throwbacks to the original films and stuff like that. It's just fucking great. I fucking, And the Johnny character is a bad guy. There's the thing, whether he is a bad guy, isn't a bad guy, is he the real bad guy or not? And, clearly still not got over, like, losing that match with the old fucking, crane kick and all that sort of shit. But I just fucking loved it. Loved it. What a way to end this podcast, isn't it? We've talked about everything. Cars breaking. Well, we haven't, have we? We haven't talked about everything. We've talked about my car breaking down, the BBC having less left-wing comics, and then I went on saying I don't know whether I'm left-wing or right-wing. You need to throw the subject in front of me, and then you work out for yourself whether I'm left-wing or right-wing. Because even I don't know what fucking stance I'm going to take on most shit. You know what I mean? And just to clarify, that stance will change as well. If you ask me 2 days running, you'll probably get a different answer. And then we've talked about the greatest program that I have seen in a long time, Cobra Kai. I thoroughly fucking recommend it, and really want to be the Johnny Lawrence character. That's it. Yeah, I wish I'd have done fucking more karate when I was younger. I wish I'd have done that. You know what I mean? Just so, you know, if you set up a dojo called Cobra Kai right now, today, you'd make a fucking killing. I'm telling you. The good thing about it is, the funny thing about that is that nobody really wants to do karate anymore in the thing, apart from all the dweebs and the geeks and the people who get bullied at school and shit. So he's got to deal with all those lot and with his 80s mindset. It's fucking great. I couldn't go. You know, it's really well done. It looks like I'm sponsored by him, but I'm not. I fucking thoroughly loved every fucking minute of it. That is, he says, going on, episode 139, people. If you've got any questions or anything like that, you can, or if you want to slag me off in any way, shape or form, it is just podcast@benbriggs.co.uk. I will be back on Saturday. Have a good week until then, motherfuckers. Take care.